live from coast to coast. It's your boy. I'm Chris the Dime One. Welcome to another fabulous, sensational, entertaining, as well as funny live stream. Basically, based on a true story. How y'all living? I'm living swell. It's your host, your moderator. So be sure to hit the subscription button, the notification bell. Share this live stream with your friends, family, as well as your follower. Let's get this live stream as well as this YouTube channel lit in the YouTube algorithm, because you guys are all well aware of this. The YouTube algorithm may know of me, but it just doesn't simply know me. Okay, we got all that stuff on out of the way. Let's get into story time. Story time, story. Seems like you guys are thoroughly entertained by these story times based on a true story. Okay, so without further ado, let's get into it. I used to work at Kroger. Okay, I used to work at Kroger, and the reason why I worked at Kroger was because, it wasn't because it was the best paying job, or it had the best benefits, or it was the most successful franchise in business history. It's none of that fly stuff. Okay, basically the reason why I started working at Kroger, because it was like a hop, skip, and a jump to where I lived at. I could literally walk right down the street, less than a mile, and wind up in Kroger. Okay, so that's the only reason why I chose working at this location, because I live right up the hill from your friendly neighborhood Kroger store. Okay, but that's not really the reason why I'm making this story time live stream. So I'm gonna tell you the time of these two co-workers. Have you ever met someone that you thought you knew, and then when you finally find out who they really are, it throws you right off your seat? Like, you are totally shocked, astonished. I'm going to use a word white people use: appalled. Okay? You clutching your pearls when you find out who this person is. All right? So, uh, there's no, okay, we always have new workers. We all, one, we'll hire one, couple of weeks, couple of days, couple of months, couple of years, they leave, we hire another one. So it's no big shock, wasn't no real huge surprise that we always have new co-workers that we have to reintroduce ourselves, and in some cases we have to reintroduce ourselves. Okay, so there was this couple that got hired at your friendly neighborhood Kroger store. Now, I know the husband name by heart, okay, and his name was Bronco. And the only reason I know his name Bronco is because there's a Ford truck called Bronco. All right. So that's the only real reason why I know of him. Not because I had any interactions with him, because he was super quiet, super mild. He wasn't trying, he didn't come in there to make friends. He just came in there to work. That's pretty much it. Happy go lucky type of dude. Okay. And his wife, I don't know his wife's name, so I'm just going to name her Maria. Okay. Now, they both are Latino. Okay. And they were cool. I had no issues with either or. Now, Bronco would work on graveyard. And, I never worked on graveyard, not at that stage of my life as a Kroger worker. So I never had any interactions with him other than on Fridays, he'll come pick up his check, and he'll come pick up his check, see his wife, and then go on about his day. So the little interactions I had with Bronco sound like he was a pretty cool dude. Like I said, I had no issues with him. Now, Maria, they hired her, and she was up front, and she was the cashier. And Darlene grown a liking to her, because Maria would work whatever schedule Darlene would schedule her. She never came to Darlene talking about, oh, I can't work this day, I can't work that day, I gotta have these days off. She wasn't about that life. Okay, Maria would take anything Darlene would give her. And Darlene, that's one thing Darlene like: dependability and flexibility on your end. All right. So That's one thing. Two, she never missed a day of work. Never missed a day of work. She always there. And if Darlene needed her on her days off, Maria would come in on her days off. Happy go lucky, dependable, hard worker. You can't say nothing bad about Maria. You can't say nothing wrong about Maria. Now, Maria had some haters because there was some like seasonal workers there. And they thought that Maria was kissing up to Darlene, but it wasn't like that. She just likes to work. Okay. So Darlene had, started liking Maria because Maria would work anything. So eventually she promoted Maria to be floor supervisor. So she could be the afternoon closing floor supervisor. So, that helped Darlene in two ways. One, have someone that's going to close the store that you trust, and have someone there that's super, super duper dependable. Now, she had her usual suspects as floor supervisors, but she just get whatever she can get out of them because, like I said, they had like a different schedule. Okay, so like there was Shauna, but she didn't want to close on weekends. Then there was I forgot her name. Oh, Rebecca. But Rebecca only works like 2 or 3 days a week. That kind of infuriated Darlene. I don't know why that infuriated Darlene, because she would always talk smack behind Rebecca's back, talking about, she should work more hours. And then Rebecca would have excuses like, she has to, watch her kids. And Darlene would say, well, when I watch my kids, I still work a full-time schedule. Anyway, you had to get to know Darlene. Darlene will talk ish behind anybody's back. She'll talk ish behind my back. Okay, that's just in her DNA. Okay, so when she let Maria be closing floor supervisor, it was perfect. Maria would work 40 hours. She would close the nights that no one else wanted to close. Plus, having a second floor supervisor there at night, you know, would she didn't have to necessarily depend too heavily on Shauna, because she knows she's not gonna get a lot out of Shauna when she's closing. And Rebecca, whatever she can get out of Rebecca, that's cool. But she's got Maria there to, pretty much finish what they didn't do. So that was, and Darlene liked Maria. I had no issues with Maria. No one really had any issues with Maria. So everything's fine, dandy, cool. Bronco still working graveyard. Haven't heard anything bad or wrong about Bronco. He was a dependable worker. He was always there, always on time. And Maria, same thing. Okay, everything was going cold, steady, smooth for like a month, 2 months, 3 months. Okay, so after 3 months, stuff started popping up from nowhere. Stuff that you know we never had a huge issue about. Okay, not a huge issue. We had smaller issues about it, but not no real huge issue. And you started noticing the tendencies. Like for example, when Maria would close, the office till will be short, and some of the registers would be short. Now, in the beginning of their investigation, they just assumed other people for that problem. They would assume, well, Rebecca probably didn't count the tills right, or the kids, their kids, they may have a short register time or two. But the stuff was accumulating all the time. Okay, if it was happening 1 or 2 times, you might say it's a my bad, an accident, or you know they didn't properly count the tears. You can just sum it up to that. But it was all the freaking time. And it was a head scratcher to Darlene and Damien. You know, like Darlene and Damien, they like the law and order of our Kroger store. They get to the bottom of anything that's a mystery, particularly when stuff is going on up front. They pretty much are, they pretty much know what happens with short tills and things of that nature. So that's what they was doing. So they said to themselves, okay, let's move people around. Like, let's just pinpoint and see uh, who having the issues. All right. So they would have Shauna. They changed Shauna days where Shauna wouldn't be floor supervisor on those nights. The same thing they did with Rebecca. They moved Rebecca to the morning, and they pretty much made Maria, you know, numero uno for closing floor supervisor. And when she was closing, that's when the stuff was still going on. The tails would still be short, you know, the front end tails will be short, the front office tails will be short, stuff be missing, things of that nature. So they pinpointed and said, okay, it's Maria. All right. But Darlene grew a fondness of Maria, and she was thinking, well, maybe, Maria made an accident. She made a boo-boo. So they would so they brought Maria into the office. And then the manager, the union representative, and Darlene, they was all in the back talking to Maria. Now you probably wondering, how do you know all this, Chris? I'm gonna tell you how I know all this. Because there's no such thing as keeping things private at this Kroger location. When you think your business is private, it's really public, because loose ships sink ships. Either the management is going to talk to somebody and the co-workers are happening to walk in and they hear it, or the managers go talk to the leads and then the leads spill their guts to the co-worker. No privacy at this Kroger location. Everybody knows everybody's business. Okay, so like I said, they take her to the back. Management, start talking to Maria like, hey, we've been noticing, the tills are being short. Some of the cashier tills be short, and we're just wondering what's going on. And then so they told Maria, they said, like, so we for the past couple of weeks we've been changing our schedule around. So when we primarily had Shauna as floor supervisor, it wasn't no high volume of tills being short, to that effect. So then when we put Rebecca on mornings and let you just primarily close, the problem still consists whenever you close it. So they're asking her, like, hey, so what's going on? Is there something that you may be doing wrong? Something that you don't understand? They basically coming towards her like, she made a boo-boo. She made an honest mistake, okay? No one thought in their wildest dreams that Maria was stealing money out of the tills. No one wasn't even thinking about that. They was all thinking about, okay, she probably done messed up along the way. She done screwed something up here and there. Because, see, that's how much cachet Maria had at this store. Because everybody loved Maria. Everyone thought Maria was dependable. Everyone put Maria over all of us. Okay, Darlene, the management, everybody. So no one thought on their wildest dreams that Maria was stealing from the tills. So from what I heard, Maria gave them a sob story. She said that she didn't want to tell Darlene this, but she has a problem with arithmetic, and she didn't want to tell Darlene, and she was basically saying that she felt honored that Darlene wanted her to be the closing floor supervisor. She didn't want to disappoint Darlene. She just gave us some type of sob story like that, and it was an awe moment. Oh, so everyone had their little awe moment. Darlene was touched by an angel by it. Management was touched by it. Everybody was touched by it. Everyone was touched by it except Damien, because there's two reasons why Damien wasn't going for the okie doke. One, Damien saw Maria as a threat, because if Maria would have kept doing good things, there was word around the campfire is that they was gonna let Maria take Damien's place as an accountant, because we have accounters, the people that account the money in the office, and there was talk that they would want the person that counts the money to do it late at night. So when on closing day, you can come count the money, clean the tills out, do it late in the evening. Therefore, in the morning, you don't have to worry about trying to count, and now you're trying to catch up and get all this stuff done before the store opens at 6. So Damien didn't like her because of that reason. Okay. And not only that, Damien also thought that she was taking money. Okay. So Damien had a huge interest in what they was going to do with Maria moving forward. So management, Darlene came up to this agreement. They say, okay, I tell you what, Maria, we'll get someone to watch the office, handle the tills at night, and you're still doing so good as a floor supervisor. You could be a floor supervisor and you just monitor the flow. Okay. So they basically just took all the money responsibilities away from Maria. All right. That went okay. It went okay for like 2 weeks, maybe. And then they started noticing a trend. They started noticing like still having problems. Some of the cashiers' tills are being short, and the office tills, not all the time, but the office tills starting to be short. So they trying to figure out what's going on, because Maria, she's not handling money. She's not in the office. She's not on the register. She's not handling money. So come to find out, late in the evening, the cashiers, they need breaks, they need lunches. Well, who you think gives them their breaks and lunches? Maria. Maria will have to go into their register, let them sign off, she signs on, and continue to check out the customers. Well, guess what? The person in the office, they need a break. They need a lunch. So Maria has to go in now, take their break. Switch places. They, it's same process. Okay. So they were noticing when Maria was on the tills, the registers would be short. When she's no longer on the tills, there's no huge shortness on the registers or in the office. So now, this is the second time. Now they're really on the wavelength of, okay, Maria's stealing money. Okay, this is the second time it's happening. Maria is taking money. All right. Now, there was this store manager. His name is Bill. I ain't going to say his whole name, but I'm going to say his name is Bill. All right. And Bill was like a little naive. Okay. He was too naive. He was still believing in Maria. Okay. So he didn't want to call HR, even though, LP, but, LP, like if your store lose a lot of money, it dings in the system, and then LP comes. So they was going to come regardless, but he wasn't going to call LP, and he wanted Maria to still be on the flow and still maybe sometimes help on the register. Like I said, this was happening too much, so we got dinged in the system. So corporate calls LP. Now there's this lady in LP. I'm gonna tell y'all, she's like a Rottweiler on 2 feet. Like, she don't care about people. She got this pet bull face, smokes cigarettes like it ain't nothing. Like, you think it's a train, coming up the parking lot. No, it's her. She just huffing and puffing away with cigarettes. All right. And she's mean as hell. All right. So basically, they investigated. They started looking at cameras. They started, hey, how you doing? How you doing? How you doing, devil _VR? That's a weird name, but may I ask how you came to that conclusion, to that name? So anyway, back to my story. Uh, they investigate and come to find out that there's a huge possibility I am blind. Oh, okay. Well, I appreciate you listening in. I appreciate you listening in. I don't even have my cameras on, so I appreciate you listening in. Hey, how you doing? How you doing? Is that Zoe? What's up, Big Zoe? Big Zoe in his house. Okay. So basically, there's some connection that now it used to be a possibility. Hey, how you doing, Zoe? It was a possibility that she could be stealing money. Now they definitely conclude that she's probably stealing money. So they started running a check on her. You dig what I'm saying? They started running a check on her. And come to find out, when they ran her background check again, they couldn't find Maria's. Like, it's like Maria never existed until now, till she applied for Kroger. You know, before Kroger, she didn't exist. When she got hired on Kroger, now all of a sudden she exists. Okay, so now the LP going like, okay, what's going on? Okay, so they asked for her. Okay, Zoe, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for coming in. So now they ask Maria for her ID. Okay, so Maria handed them the same ID that she handed to HR when she even got the job. When they started running it, again, there's no history of Maria before Kroger, but there's history of Maria after Kroger. So now they're asking her, do you have any other form of ID? She's saying no, this is all she has. Okay. Um, So then they find out Maria's husband also works at Kroger as well. They do a background check on him. Same thing. Bronco, before Kroger, there's no history of Bronco. There's no history on Bronco. Only history they have on Bronco is what he's doing after Kroger. Same process, same procedure. Hey, Bronco, you have any other form of ID? He says no. So the both of them says no. All right. So now that's a big flag with LP. Like, you don't have no history, like, and before Kroger. So now there's red flags flying everywhere. So then they went to they went to law enforcement and they're telling them the situation. So they're trying to figure out, Kroger, I'm gonna tell y'all something. Kroger got people in law enforcement. Don't think for a second that they don't have no people in law enforcement. They got people in law enforcement that if you have a criminal record, they will find out. They'll find out anything on you. Okay, so they reach out to those services. So again, no criminal no background. I mean, no history other than what they did after Kroger. So they did an extended check on them. And when they did an extended check, that's when everything started to make sense. So they started connecting Maria's ID to another ID in Texas. And then that ID was connected somewhere in Indiana. And then, so basically it's the same person on the ID. Same pictures. Maria's face is on the ID, but it's a different name. So they asked Maria, do you have any other aliases? Have you changed your name recently? She's going, no. Okay. So now when they extend it, it dings the FBI. So now the FBI is involved. Now this was after, oh my God, when the planes hit those New York buildings. I forgot what day that was. 9/11. Okay. Now, after 9/11, everybody start to, you know, now the need of searching for people, like you got to have all your ducks in a row, okay? Because before 9/11, you can just say any old name and then, okay, you can get you a plane ticket or whatever. Now, uh, the senses are heightening when it comes to security after 9/11. So then Maria, oh, thanks for the thumbs up, guys. I didn't even notice y'all gave me some thumbs up. I really do appreciate that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, God bless you. So now they they start to have a trail with Maria and Bronco. Come to find out, that's not their real name. Now, no one knows their real name that works at Kroger. But the people that's handling this, they know exactly what's going on. But all I can tell you is their names have been changed. That's not their real names. All right. And I can remember this day like it was yesterday. Like I was outside pushing carts. I noticed some police cars, some police cruisers pulling up at the job site. Now, these wasn't your run-of-the-mill police cruisers that got blue lights. No, I knew that they were police cruisers because they were unmarked, and you could tell, like in the front of the grill, it has like blue lights hidden behind the grill. So I knew that they were police cars. Plus, when you look on the back of them, it's got these cages in the passenger seat, but the windows kind of tinted. So if you like from a distance, you might think that's a regular ass car. But when you walk up close on it, no, that's a cop car. So there's like three of them pulling up, and then these guys come out. Now they had those member only type jackets, those little the plastic type jackets, and I knew that they are either detectives or work with the FBI or work for the government or whatever. Okay, they fit that mold. Okay, I'm going like, oh my God, somebody's going to jail. Somebody's going to jail. Okay, first thing I think of is me. Is it me? Did they come to get me? Now the worst thing I have ever done is speeding tickets. So I'm saying to myself, ain't no way in the world they sending unmarked cars to come pick me up over an unpaid speeding ticket. So I'm good in the hood. You dig what I'm saying? So I go tell Morrell, I'm like, hey Morrell, man, there's some cop cars in. He said, yeah, I saw that too. See, he said he called Darlene and Darlene. So he called Darlene. We asked him, Darlene, man, there's some cop cars out here. What's going on? Darlene said she don't know. Now this is the first time I believe her, because normally Darlene be clued in on what's going on in the store, particularly if somebody's in some legal trouble anyway. Because like I said, management talked to the leads, and the leads spilled the beans to all of us. Okay, so this is the first time I believed Darlene when she said, I don't know. So it was like around 6 a.m, and I thought that was an odd hour, but it didn't dawn on me until after the fact that at 6 a.m, that's when Maria clocks in, and in an hour from now, Bronco will be leaving at 7 a.m. So I'm going like, this is not no, they just didn't wake up one morning and say, okay, let's go get somebody. No, they had this set and planned. Okay, so they walk up. They didn't even go to the customer service desk. They just went straight to the back to the office. Okay, and 10 minutes later, Bill calls Darlene on the phone. Darlene picks up the phone, and basically what my manager told Darlene was, hey, you're going to have to watch the office, and can you tell Maria to come to the back? So that's what Darlene did. She watched the office and said, hey, Maria, the manager wants to speak to you in the back. She's saying, okay, cool, So she's, smiling, walking to the back. Nobody ain't thinking nothing different, other than we saw the cop cars. But me Me and Morel pretty much had this thing locked down and knew who they was going to pick up. We just didn't know why they was going to pick her up. All right. So then they asked Robert. Robert is a shop steward. He's a union stewardess. Manager called him, said, "Hey, is Bronco still there?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "Hey, can you tell Bronco to come to the office? I'm gonna need you too." So Robert, he shuffles himself all the way to the back dock, and by that time, the night crew they're cleaning up. They're putting their pallets together, they getting their trash. Then Robert sees Bronco. He said, "Hey, I'm gonna need you to come to the manager's office." He said, "Okay." So they go to the manager's office. All right. Everybody's in the manager's office. The guys that are in the cop cars are in the manager's office. The manager, a shop stewardess, a union representative from some district, he's in there. And somebody else from Kroger, and LP. Everybody is in the manager's office. I mean, the manager's office is packed. If the manager's office was a party, then I wasn't invited because it was jam-packed full of people. Okay? So I knew something serious was going to go down because, sometimes, hey, look, I ain't gonna hold y'all. I get a little nosy sometimes. So I walk, because sometimes when you walk through there, you can see through the door who's in there and stuff. All right. So I'm acting like I'm going to the back to take out some trash. I walk past the door, hoping to get a glance through the door window. I look up at the door window. There's somebody done put like a sheet of paper or whatever on the door window. Okay. I'm going like, damn, I don't even know who's at the door window. Okay. So everybody's in there, and all I know who was in there. I just don't know what they doing. So I just go up front. So I say to myself, if I go up front, then I will know exactly what's going on. Okay. So basically, I waited up front. Man, they were back there for like at least 2 hours. At least 2 hours, okay? I'm going like, did I miss it? Did they already done handle business? So I had to go outside to make sure the cop cars are there. The cop cars are still there. So after 2 hours, I'm, waiting, acting like I'm busy, helping customers and stuff. Then I see those officers, and the officers and Maria and Bronco all heading up front. They had Maria and Bronco chained up. They they had them cuffed up. They had handcuffs on them. They had those cuffs that they put on your feet. And every time they move, they be jingling, go jing, jing, jing. It was like Christmas. They jing, 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 jingling, jingling, and they just hop. They do the handcuff walk. Okay, if you don't know what the handcuff walk is, just watch a movie. And they normally do this to serious criminals, not your run-of-the-mill criminals, not your amateur criminals. They do this to serious criminals. Okay, so the only thing that was missing was their orange jumpsuit. So they doing, they wobbling back and forth because they can't really get no full traction because they got the ankles cuffed as well as their hands cuffed. Okay, so they walk they walk to the car. They sit in the car, and the officers are there, and then they just wait a while, and they on the radio. They're talking to one another, and then after that, they drive off. I haven't heard or seen Maria and Bronco since then. Okay. So what happened was I gotten some more intel from after the fact. Come to find out, these two were criminals, and they were using stolen ID, putting their pictures on them, and just getting by. Okay, just getting by. I don't know what type of criminal activity that they were doing. But one of the things that they caught them on was the outstanding warrants that they had, and then they got fresh new crimes, posing as identity theft. I mean, they're at that time they're going to prison. Now I don't know, they may be out by now, okay? Because I don't know how many years you can get for identity theft. I don't know if that's a severe crime or whatnot, but I don't even know. I don't even know. I don't even know what you can get. I mean, what are crimes that they had? Okay, so yeah, that was a time I knew that that's the time someone that worked at Kroger, a coworker, got arrested and left out of there handcuffed. That's the first time I ever seen that. Normally when I see shoplifters and they call the police on them, they escort them out, but they don't got no handcuffs on them unless they done committed some type of crime or they pose as a threat. Occasionally I see that. Anyway, I ain't never seen nothing like that. This was straight from like a movie, man. I ain't never seen anything like that. Okay, so yeah, that was the time. You know, I've seen you know, Kroger supposed to be employees get pinched like that, So I hope everyone was thoroughly entertained by this live stream. Okay. So I really do appreciate people coming by, watching the live streams. If you guys want me to continue to do more story times, hit me up in the comment section. I will continue to do these as many as possible. I think I did 2 yesterday, and then this one, and I may do another one Friday. But you know, if y'all are thoroughly entertained by this, let me know. If you guys got other ideas, other suggestions, I'll do those as well. Okay. Um, I was gonna tell you the time. We'll do that another time. We'll do that because that's a long story. I don't want to top it on this story because this story was already too long. So we'll just save that story for later on. But yeah, I have seen Kroger employees get fired, filet mignon, all types of ways at that location. Okay. Um, I've seen it. I've been there, done that. I've seen them get escorted out by Metro. I've seen them escorted out by other law enforcement. I've seen them get escorted out by LP, by management. I've seen it done all types of ways. But yeah, damn, I should have told y'all the time uh, about a Kroger manager that done. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna tell y'all this story. This is a bonus story. I'm gonna do this one real fast, real quick. Okay, so this dude named Brent, he's this assistant manager. All right, so Brent used to work for corporate. Okay, he used to work for corporate. And Brent was an asshole. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I'm gonna be straight up honest with y'all. I'm gonna be real with y'all. Brent was a straight asshole, and he knew he was an asshole. You know how somebody um just love their job too well? That was Brent. Brent loved his job too fucking well. So okay, here's the rundown on Brent. Brent used to work in corporate along with some other Kroger managers, and there was life was good. All they had to do is go to the corporate office, be in a couple of meetings, go and just chop it up with other people in the corporate office, occasionally go to other stores and see how their stores are doing, and talk bad, talk ish to the managers at that store that they need to manage their store better. He was on that type of time. Okay. And he loved his job. Okay, he loved the hell. I think he loved Kroger more than his own family. Which, by the way, he's got a wife and they got like 3 kids. I think 2 boys and an infant. I think that was a boy or a girl. Anyway, Brent loved the shit out of his job. You couldn't tell Brent nothing. All right. So Kroger was downsizing before they even started really downsizing. I think there was him. I think they was downsizing before they actually started downsizing now. Okay, where they're closing stores and things of that nature. So Kroger said, okay, let's close the corporate office because there's really no need for no corporate office when we already have a corporate office already in place. So we'll close down the corporate office on the smaller level, particularly in that district. And once we close the office, we're going to send all these people that was in the corporate office. We're going to let them either be assistant managers or store managers. Okay, all of them wasn't store managers. All of them did not get selected to be store managers. So all of them just regular assistant managers. Okay, so Brent falls under the assistant manager category, and then that's when Brent transferred over to our store. And from day one, nobody did not like Brent. Brent was trying to do every fucking thing by the book. Everything by the book. Whatever the Kroger Bible said, Brent obeyed the Kroger Bible. Okay? And I'm not saying that, you shouldn't enforce rules. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is sometimes you can use those rules as a guideline. It don't mean like we're just going to follow it to the letter of the law. It's just use it as a guideline. Not every store is going to be, can follow it that way because they have other issues and other problems at that store. That's why they can't follow it the way you want to follow it. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Brent was an asshole. Letter to the law, the Kroger Bible. So, he loves to let people go. If you don't follow the Kroger Bible, the Kroger law, then he's going to let you go. Well, it says in the Kroger Bible that if you do a no call, no show after 3 days, we're going to have to let you go. In the Kroger Bible, it says, once you get charged with a drug charge, we're going to have to let you go. Hey, in the Kroger Bible, it says that if you take longer than 15 minutes on your break, we can just chop it up as a lunch. That's what the Kroger Bible says. He's on that type of time, that type of shit. All right. So it was an evening. Brent was the closing manager. And there was a disgruntled customer in deli, apparently, and in bakery. Apparently, he ordered a cake, and someone jotted his order down, told him to come the next day. They'll have the cake there. The only issue and the only problem was there was no cake. So whoever took the order down didn't tell nobody from bakery. Okay, I don't know. Anyway, a misunderstanding. Anybody else with some common sense would say, okay, we effed up. How can we make this right? Let's just give him a free cake. Whatever we got available, we'll just give it to him for free. And then we'll even throw in like a gift card. You know what I'm saying? Just make it go away. Obviously, it's our fault. We effed up. The customer didn't F up. Not old Brent. Brent want to follow the Kroger law, the Kroger Bible. He walks up there. He trying to be stern with the customer. Well, did you talk to someone in bakery? Well, I don't know if they was in bakery. All I know is they jotted my order down. They said they was going to put it on the board. Okay. So-and-so, is it on the board? No, it's not on the board, Brent. Well, Are you sure you called this place? Maybe you called another Kroger store. Hey, look, quit playing in people's face. Obviously, he called this place. Why are you going through all these loops and leaps and all? Look, quit playing in people's face, okay? Again, say it's our bad, give him a free cake and a gift card and let him go on his way. He might still say something negative about us, but at the end of the day, he can't say we didn't take care of him. You dig what I'm saying? So he's up here playing in this customer's face. All right, it's a black dude. I can remember it. It's a black dude. No, yeah, it was a black dude. It was his wife. I mean, it was his daughter's birthday. He wanted to surprise her daughter. He got her a cake. Obviously, we didn't prepare the cake. When you got a daughter, she's like 5-6 years old. That's your first daughter. You get, particularly when you're a man, you want to make everything perfect and right for your daughter from that perspective. Brent, if you listen to this live stream, just imagine this, Brent. Like, before you had 3 kids, you had 1 son, right? And you go somewhere to get a cake done and they didn't make your cake. Now, are you going to be agitated? Are you going to be a little hostile? Damn right you are. That's your first kid. You dig what I'm saying? So put yourself in their shoes. You dig what I'm saying? But Brent, I don't know what's up with Brent. All right, so Brent, he's still playing in this customer's face. We trying to cushion the blow. Well, Brent, maybe can we just give him another cake? Or, hey, Brent, it is our fault. Brent's still going by the letter of the law. He thinks the Kroger law is on his side. I am the law. He's like Judge Dredd, old big bucket heads. Anyway, so Brent starts trying to match the energy with the guy. See, when you see the guy's already mad and agitated, don't try to match it. Take it down a level. You dig what I'm saying? Take it down a level. He's upset. Take it down a level. Brent wants to match the energy. So when they start arguing, they're going back and forth arguing. So Brent tells the guy to get out of his store. I don't know why Brent said that. Get out of his. Okay, first and foremost, clearly it's our mistake. We are in the wrong. We're in the service of taking care of our customers. Okay, that's the image Kroger portrays. You dig what I'm saying? So, man, just give him a cake, give him a gift card, and be done with it. Okay, all this could be settled for less than $20. No, not Brent. Brent tells him to leave the store. Dude ain't gonna leave the store. Brent threatens to call the police. Dude say, what you gonna call the police for? Because you didn't make my order? You didn't give me my services? So Brent took that as, oh, you trying to be smart. Oh, you one of them smarty yancy type brothers, okay? So Brent said, you damn right I want to tell the police. He said, well, I'm gonna be waiting right here for the police. Brent says, good, okay? So they're going back and forth. Now, it started off as, back and forth, little arguing. Then it escalates into yelling, a screaming match. Neither one of y'all not looking good. It done gotten so, like, every customer in the store started gravitating over there in that area. All the employees, everything. We're trying to calm everything down. Brent trying to escalate the shit, okay? So, Brent says, look, get out of my damn store. That's the first time I ever heard a manager cuss at a manager. I ain't think they can do that, okay? I thought God was going to strike him down. I thought Barney Kroger from heaven was going to strike Brent down, okay? I ain't think they can do that, apparently. Well, he did it, all right? So he cussed the customer out. He said, get the hell out of my store. He said, I ain't going no damn where. I don't know if it was the no damn where or the way how he said it. Brent puts his hands on the customer. I guess he was going to try to drag him out the store. I don't don't know why Brent put his hand on a hostile person. Dude took it as an assault. Okay, now I gotta defend myself. So then dude backs off, tries to take a swing at Brent. Brent ducks, dude miss. Okay. Then Brent does a goddamn tackle from the NFL. Brent tackles him. They both fall on this display. It had some wine and shit. All that shit busted on the floor. They're grabbing on each other. So what? I'm not getting involved. I'm not getting involved. Okay, because the same Kroger Bible Brent went by and Brent believed, he should have knew he done effed up. I guess he wanted to get fired because it says you can't put your hands on no customer. No matter if you right, no matter if you're in the right, wrong, whatever, you can't put your hands on a customer. I'm not touching it. I'm falling back. Everybody, and then you know what? Everybody else starts to fall back. They tussling on the floor, So finally, another manager comes, breaks it up. Tells Brent, hey man, Brent, go to the back. Brent said, I ain't going nowhere. And then the manager look at him and say, look, Brent, go to the back. I mean it. So when he looking at Brent like, look, boy, look, go to the back. Now he getting serious about it. Brent finally, dusts himself off, go to the back. Manager talks to the customer. By this time, the police come. Somebody done call the police. A customer, I don't know. Police come. All right. So now the police, the manager, not Brent, and the customer, they all outside discussing the whole matter. Okay. Now, I don't know what happened after that. I don't know if he pressed charges or if he didn't press charges. I know one thing, if he did press charges, Brent would be arrested by now. But Brent wasn't arrested. So the next day, corporate calls. They find out about this incident. No, a week goes by. They find out. They tell Brent, hey, Brent, won't you just fall back for a couple of weeks? Okay. So, they put Brent on some type of leave. I don't know if it's paid leave, unpaid leave. I don't know. So Brent's gone for like 2 weeks. The gossip of in Kroger, we thinking, okay, Brent gone. You dig what I'm saying? Brent should be looking for a job. If I was in Brent's position, I'd be looking for a job because you gonna put me on leave. Then you just telling me you gonna get rid of me at the end when I'm supposed to come back. So I'm gonna be looking for a job. You dig what I'm saying? Not Brent. 2 weeks go by. We went through inventory and everything. So first week, Brent comes back. He works for like a week. He's helping us out. And then I noticed his attitude changed. He ain't that guy that flamboyant guy. He's not that guy with the chip on the shoulder. He ain't trying to be effing with people. Okay. Now he's kumbaya. He's nice. He's talking to us and stuff like that. I'm going, oh, thanks for the thumbs up. I appreciate the thumbs up. Okay, I appreciate that. So he's on that type of time. You dig what I'm saying? So I'm thinking he must know something. So he's nice, friendly, want to kumbaya, telling everybody, telling every different employee, hey, you my favorite employee, you were very dependable. He would say good things to everybody. Okay, he was on that type of time. So a week goes by, everybody just assumed maybe Brent dodged the bullet on this one. Maybe Brent said something, or maybe corporate thought something of Brent, and they just they're gonna sweep this under the rug. Okay, that's what we all thought, because he was working there for a week. Nobody said anything. So the next week, the corporate manager walks in now, and we thought that was kind of odd We just had inventory. Now everything's back to normal. Why is the corporate manager here? So we just assume maybe we didn't do good on the inventory, even though we got some early reports and they say that we did good on inventory. So, okay, we're thinking it's, why is the corporate manager doing here? So I can remember it. I'm on the vegetable aisle zoning. I'm bringing everything up to the shelf. Brent was on the other side, and he's doing the same thing. So the corporate manager he walks past me. He says, good morning or whatever. He just says some common stuff to me. They always, say hi, whatnot. They don't really give a fuck about us. Anyway, uh, he walks by me, he goes to Brent. He said, hey Brent, I need to talk to you in the office. He said, no problem. Now, when I saw this interaction, it was a very peaceful interaction. I'm going like, oh, well then, Brent done came through and kept his job. I'm thinking Brent done kept his job. You dig what I'm saying? So I ain't think much about it. The rest of the day I finished my shift and then I went home. I didn't see Brent after that, after the fact, but I knew he was there because his car was still there. So I'm going home. I go home, do what I do at home, go to sleep, get ready for the next day. I come back the next day. Morel's telling me that they done fired Brent. I'm like, word? When they fired Brent, they said like late in the evening. So apparently the corporate manager came in and once again, this store cannot keep anything private. Stuff like that, it just spreads like wildfire in the store. Okay. But for this exception, I'm glad it goes by wildfire because I had an issue with Brent day one. Dig what I'm saying? So Morel was telling me, yeah, they had him in the office and the corporate manager just let him go because of that incident. So Brent was begging and pleading, seeing if he can keep his job. The corporate manager said, we just can't let you keep your job because of that incident. And now the customer is pursuing legal actions on the store. So we have to let you go. All right. So look, we all been fired before. You dig what I'm saying? I'm gonna have my head up. I'm not gonna lose my dignity over a job. Okay, you're just gonna have to just take it to the chin, pause, and just move on. Look for you another job. If you were smart, you should have been looking for a job when they put you on that leave, but you didn't do that. So that's why I thought Brent was gonna be on that type of time because you a big ass asshole and you act like you macho, you act like you got a chip on your shoulder. I'm thinking you're gonna be, hey, you know what? It's been real, it's been fun. Okay, I got fired, cool, and then just keep it pushing. Not Brent. Brent calls his wife, tells his wife that he done got fired. All right, you know, your wife is a stand by your man type thing. She comes in with the kids, the infant child, and they just walking all over the store looking sad, crying and stuff as Brent, you know, walks out the door. So the wife crying, the kids look sad, Brent looks pathetic, and they walk out. He had a banana box with his possessions and he walks off and just drives off in the sunset. I haven't seen Brent till about 8 months ago. I saw Brent 8 months ago. So Brent got fired. Life goes on in Kroger. Like I said, I ain't heard nothing from Brent. Now Peter told me he ran into Brent at the laundromat. And he thought that Brent got upset with him because Peter didn't want to associate with him. So Peter thought that Brent took that the wrong way. he got emotional about it. But this man up here fighting people, wrestling them to the ground over $20. He done lost a $50K a year job over $20. Okay, so that clearly tells you he has anger issues. He's got anger issues. All right. So I'm gonna tell y'all the time I saw Brent. It was 8 months ago. Okay, 8 months. 8 months ago. I'm in Thornton's. Shout out to Thornton's. I love the shit out of Thornton's. Thornton's the one place where you can get your gas on. You can get something quick to eat, and you can catch something on sale. Like Thornton's got a deal where they got all these big ass large Snicker bars. They're like $3 a piece. They got them for like $1. I'm like, God damn. Okay, I like Thornton's. Every time I go into Thornton's, it's a new experience. It's a new, totally different experience. But this ain't why I'm going to tell y'all this story. So go in there, got my usual. I get my Mountain Dew Baja Blast. I get a hot dog from the hot center. And then I told the girl, hey, I need 30 on 5. So so as I'm walking out the store, I see Brent coming in the store. And at first I didn't recognize him, but he recognized me. So he said, hey, Chris, how you doing? I'm going like, I had to recall, I had to look up and I saw him. I said, oh, that's Brent, miserable ass. I said, hey, yo, what's up, Brent? He said, hey, how you doing? I said, I'm doing great. What about you? Life is good. Life is good. I'm thinking it's want to be those type of conversation. You say something good that you saying that life is good. Life is good on my end. Life is good on your end. Okay. Huddle up, break. Okay. I'm trying to get some gas in my car. You dig what I'm saying? But I didn't want to be like that. You know what I'm saying? So I said, yeah, life's good. Life's good. He said, hey, you still work at Kroger? And I looked at him for a second, and I'm going like, have you ever get the feel like do you ever get the feeling when someone asks you a question that they should already know the answer? You be asking yourself, why the fuck they ask you that question in the first place? Okay. So anyway, I looked at him. I said, yeah, I still work at Kroger. And I told him, I said, yeah, I heard that you incorporate you incorporate for Dailies. There's like a convenience store named Dailies. And Dailies is a gas station type thing. So he's found I guess someone hooked him up. He's got a corporate job over there. And he said, I'm in the office. I'm back in the office, but I'm at Dailies. I'm like, okay, well, good for you. And I said, well, I'll see you later. Because I knew he wasn't going to say, I'll see you later. I knew he wasn't going to say that. He wanted to just keep talking. I just want to get my gas in my car and go home. Because me and Brett, we never had no one-on-one discussions, and I was cool with him. He was cool with him, and he was cool with me. I never liked Brent because, Brent was an asshole. You dig what I'm saying? So I'm trying to end this conversation. So I'm telling him, yeah, so okay, well, I'll see you later. And then he said, okay. Hey, I'll see you later too. And I thought that was odd. Okay, why you gonna say okay 3 times and then say, I'll see you later too? Why don't you just say, I'll see you later? So obviously he wanted to talk, and I didn't want to talk. Well, what me and you got in common? I don't like you in the first place. Cause, why you want to talk to me? Okay, if you got some old demons that you're trying to shake loose and you figure, well, let me try to squash things with Chris. I know Chris got an issue with me because I was kind of hard on him. Well, why don't you just say that? Because by that time, when you was working at Kroger, that would have been a good time to squash stuff. But see, you didn't want to squash stuff at Kroger because you were trying to be Mr. By the Book, the Kroger Bible. This is the same Kroger Bible that tells you can't even put your hand on no customer, but you did it anyway. So You should have done that when you was working there. Now you don't work there. Now you want to try to squash. Man, don't squash stuff with me. You dig what I'm saying? Just keep things like they are. Keep things cordial. And I go my way, you go your way. Okay? And that's it. That's it. So yeah, man, I done did 2 stories in less than 60 minutes. So that's got to be some type of record. That's got to be some type of Kroger record. Or Kroger record. YouTube record. That's got to be some YouTube record, okay? So, yeah, guys, I'm going to just end it right there. Man, I thought I was going to try to do another live later on this evening, but I done did 2 stories in one live. That's enough for me. That's enough. So I really appreciate everyone coming by. I'll see you guys later. Comment in the comment section if you want me to continue to give you some stories based on a true story. I'm up out of here. I'm gone. Deuces. Really do appreciate everyone with the likes and subscriptions and all that stuff. I'll talk to you guys later. Deuces.